Hey, we're starting a new series today. What I learned this week in school. Old guy learn a new trick. Stand by. Hey everybody, welcome back to RATTLECAN Fab Shop. I'm James, and we're going to start a short, limited run series based all upon what I learned in school the previous 4 days. To catch you up to date, if you are not up to date, I am currently enrolled in the first of hopefully a number of one-year certificate programs run by my local community college. The one I am currently enrolled in is Welding, Metal Joining, and Fabrication. And that encompasses a number of skills and disciplines, most of them which I don't know a lot about. So it's all kind of new ground for me. It is a 16-week semester. I am going for 3 semesters, and I will have completed my first of hopefully a number of certificates in which I am learning new skills. This semester I am in welding, I am in manual machining, I am in CNC Operations, and I am in metrology, which is how you measure stuff. We'll try to get you quickly caught up to date because I've just finished the 4th week. And then we'll build on this from week to week, because if you, let me say this, if you know everything, just skip this. And you know, there are a couple of you out there that know everything and love to take a jab at somebody who's learning something new. This is not for you. If you are curious about what you can possibly learn at a local community college and the skills that you will be taught, this might be for you, because a lot of this stuff is new to me, and it might be new to you. And if I can help you kind of get off that flat, ugly part of the learning curve and up into the part where you're really, gaining ground, then, it's all worth it. So, morning class, Monday mornings for 4 hours. I'm in the welding program, and a lot of these classes start off in a very similar manner, where they are very quickly going to do a math review, because you got to learn how to do math. Not horribly complicated stuff. We're not doing calculus here, but you do have to know how to add and subtract fractions. You have to know how to convert between fractions and decimals. You have to know how to do arithmetic using fractions and using decimals and converting between them. You have to know how to convert from inches to centimeters or millimeters. You have to know all that stuff. If you don't, you are going to struggle. And I'm going to put another plug in only because I have personally benefited from this book. It's called Math to Build On. You can pick it up on the Amazon for $12, $15, something like that. And it is going to go over, and to be honest with you, a lot of this stuff is going to be review. If you're like me and you haven't had, a math class in decades, you've learned this stuff back when, dinosaurs roamed the planet, but you need to brush up on it. And this math takes fractions and decimals and arithmetic, and it focuses you on skills that are applicable to the trades. Carpentry, plumbing, running conduit, machinist type skills. So personally, I think if you can work through this book, you're pretty well set up to not struggle in these classes. Because again, all 4 of these classes that I'm in this semester, they all have a math component to them, and it's not terribly hard, but you have to understand how to do it. Welding class, we've gone over basic shop safety. They all go over basic shop safety. A couple of the safety requirements that you have in welding class are different from the welding requirements that you will have in machine classes, because you want to wear long sleeves in welding class, and you necessarily don't want to wear long sleeves in machining class when you're around, spinny things that want to separate parts of your body from yourself. So pay attention to those. What we have done so far in this welding and metal joining class is sheet metal. Something I don't know very much about at all. And that has been an eye-opening experience, because it's a discipline that I know very little about. I know how to run a brake. I know how to run shears, different things like that. But to now actually take a set of prints and make something from that is a challenge, and a challenge that I greatly enjoy. So a testament to that is my box. It is made of sheet metal, and we had talked about layout, which is why it's all blue on the inside, because we were, laying it out. We talked about the tools that you're using for laying things out. We're talking about ways that you measure on sheet metal to lay it out. And if you can operate a tape measure, that helps. If you can operate a rule, that helps. If you can use dividers, if you can use a compass, if you can use a scribe. Some of the people in my class don't know anything about that. I know a little bit about that, but I don't know a lot about it. So we make this box, including using a spot welder. I'd never used a spot welder before, because none of my welding classes had them. Now, what I have taken from making this one little box is there's a lot more to sheet metal than I knew. There's a lot more to precisely laying something out and then making a hem, or you just fold a portion of this metal over onto itself, and then fitting that, because I have an edge here that I'm not happy with, and I have an edge over here that I'm not happy with, and some of my spot welds have kind of burnt through, partially because the tips of those electrodes are kind of crappy. But from making this little box, I learned stuff that I didn't know how to do, which is kind of the point of the class. So we have made this little box. We are now making a tray. I'll insert a photo over here. I can't video in the classes. I can occasionally from time to time take a photograph of a project that I'm working on, but I'm learning. I'm not here to make content in class. I'm there to learn. So we're working on a tray, and then when you're completing with the tray, you are now working on the box that the tray and this little box can all go into. So you have a practical object that you have a thing that you can take with you when you're done, that you are learning practical skills about. We haven't gotten to welding yet. We're going to get there. Tuesday morning class is manual machining class. Same as in welding class. There's a math component that you have to get through. And in some of my classes, we're spending a lot more time on math, basic math skills, than I think we should. But I'm not the teacher. I'm just a old man sitting in the back. So we're getting that, we're going over our safety procedures, and then we're learning, the first part that we've really learned to work on is a drill press, and not dissimilar from the drill presses that I have here in the shop, but this is a pedestal, metal-working, reversible drill press. It's a bit of a different beast. It has a geared head on it, so that in order to change the speeds on this, you have to change gears on the inside of the head, as opposed to mine where you have to change a belt. And probably most of us have them that in order to change it, you have to change a belt. And we have been making a widget. And a widget is just it's a thing. It serves no purpose other than you following a print to correctly lay out, in this case, where the holes are going to go, where the countersinks are going to go, where a counter bore is going to go, where you're going to thread something, where you are going to make saw cuts, because we're also learning how to work on a metal cutting band saw, which might be a little jealous of. And just this past week, we have started work on a grinder, a pedestal grinder, and we have shaped our first high-speed steel cutting inserts that we are going to use the following week, because we're going to actually start lathe operations. So that's kind of what's going on in that class. Wednesday evenings, I have a CNC Operations class, and we are learning how to, again, there's a math review component, so if you want to save yourself some trouble before you engage in these classes, do a review. There is a separate, put it here somewhere, there is a separate video on surviving a math and English placement exam. Again, you know, if you're half 100 years old like I am, it's been probably a while since you have been formally assessed in either English composition or math skills. So if you want to learn more about that, click the doobly-doo. And so now that we've kind of gotten through that, now we're talking about vertical machining centers is what we're working on. In fact, specifically, we're working on a Haas VF2. We have 3 of those in the lab. We have one with a trunnion. We have one with a rotary axis. We have one that has a dual vise setup. And we are, again, it's the basics. We're learning the basics of G-code and M-code, coordinate systems, tool offsets, work offsets, and we're just now starting to actually machine something. We're going to machine a nameplate. And then later on in the class, we're going to go over to the VL10s, I think. I haven't really been over on that side of the lab too much, but there are three Haas lathes over there that we're gonna learn on. Very, very simple beginning stuff. How not to crash the machine, how not to break crap in the machine, how not to have stuff go flying, you know, out of your, it's just very basic, simple stuff. We wrote our first G-code program, which for me is fairly, I don't want to say it's easy, but I wrote code in the past in an electronics course that I went to, and we actually coded in BASIC and C+. And so the rhythm and the organization of coding is not a struggle for me. That's Wednesday nights, and then Thursday mornings I have metrology class. Metrology class is learning how to measure stuff. You start out with a tape measure, you move up to a rule, Then you move to calipers. We are working on micrometers right now, and we do a lot of labs. And again, all my classes are 4-hour blocks. So you usually spend an hour or two in a lecture, and then you have the rest of the time for a lab. And you're measuring notch blocks. You're measuring squares of different thicknesses that have been cut out of 3/4 inch stock. You are learning how to get the feel of a micrometer. And again, these are all entry-level courses. There are no prerequisites to get into these courses. And there are people in all of my courses that have, for the most part, very little to no experience in a shop. So I think we're kind of caught up there to what we've been doing. The future videos will be shorter, but they will be more kind of information packed on what has the learning that has occurred. It is enjoyable. It is affordable. Show up on time. Have your work ready. And then probably one of the bigger things is safety. A lot of these I call them kids because I'm the age of their parents, with the exception of one class. I'm the only old guy in the class, and a majority of my daytime classes, I have children that are older than these kids. And a lot of them had never been in a shop, and they don't understand how serious the safety rules can be, because they have never seen somebody have an arm pulled out of their socket. I have. No fun. They have never seen somebody come in with what we called a cranial degloving injury, which was someone with a long ponytail working around machinery, and that ponytail got caught in the machinery and took the scalp off of that person. And I was not in the shop environment. I was in the trauma surgery team that was tasked with attempting to reattach that scalp back to that person. They have not seen things like that. They don't understand the gravity when I say, you are the softest thing in this shop. The majority of these machines in here, if their forces are applied to you instead of a piece of metal or a piece of wood, will separate pieces of your body from you. And that is, that's concerning. So if you're in a situation like that, try to help them out. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help some of these people out when I see them in a potentially dangerous situation. And I don't tell them, hey, don't do that. I will tell them, hey, I know we're all grown people here, but have you thought about what happens if this gets wrapped around that drill bit that you have spinning at 1200 RPM and does not stop on a dime? Think about that. Anyways, updates will be coming up. We'll try to do this weekly for each one of the semesters. And again, if I can save you time, if I can save you grief and the gnashing of teeth by showing you or informing you of something that I have experienced that maybe if you work on ahead of time could save you some hassle, then that's, it's time well spent. Anyways, I'm James. This is RATTLECAN Fab Shop. Rattled on way too long. Remember, if you know everything, go somewhere else. There are plenty of channels out there for you to spout how much you know. We're just people trying to learn something. And if you can contribute to that, that's great. But if you're just here to be snarky, then just... Anyways, you guys have a good one. Cheers. hope you found this episode educational or entertaining, or maybe even both. You might want to check this one out as well. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified when new videos drop, and if you've got comments, make sure you put them down beneath the sermon notes. Thanks for hanging out with us here at the RATTLECAN Fab Shop. Y'all have a good one. Cheers.